What's up, what's up? Tom Solo here, bringing those reviews for books released on June 21st, 2017, and I'm super excited to get into The Old Guard.
Lenticular,
all the comics we buy,
lenticular,
put us side by side.
brick by brick,
We built these channels and we proud of it.
our nerd life.
Ain't putting nothing above lenticular,
All the comics we buy,
lenticular,
put us side by side.
brick by brick.
We built these channels and we're proud of it.
Our nerd life
Ain't putting nothing above it. New comic book Wednesday,
Let's
you know
not
where I'm at.
waste any time. The Old Guard, number 5. It came out today. This is the story that I absolutely am in love with. This is my favorite series that has been coming out. I know I talked about it previously. If you want to check those out, awesome. But because it wrapped up, I felt like I had to tackle it today. So we get The Old Guard. It's written by Greg Rucka and Leandro Fernandez does the art. What it is about is it's about this team of people that are immortal mostly, and there was 4 of them at the beginning of the series, and a new one has came on, and her name is Niall, and the old ones are Andy, Nikki, Joe, and Booker. In the last issue, Booker had just betrayed the team and tried to sell out his other teammates so some fucking billionaire could like dissect him and try to become immortal himself. We think Andy and Niall are stuck. We think they're going to be captured for sure. But what we get right away is like action-packed all the way through this whole entire book, and it's definitely oversized. Tons of art. So, we think Andy's stuck right away. But what we get is she starts talking with everybody and explaining how old she is, and then she explains that one thing I've learned all over these years is to keep them talking. She doesn't move. Her and Niall ice all the people in there. They make a deal with Copley to help them. That's the guy who actually betrayed them before. She lets him live, and she says to Niall and Booker, who had betrayed him, and they have a little back and forth about why Booker wanted, thought that Andy wanted to die. Andy doesn't want to die that way. Yada yada yada. They jump out of the window because that's their only way to escape. They're on like the 30th floor of some sky, or 100th floor of some skyscraper, and a bunch of guys are coming up the stairs, so this is the only way. Niall's like, are we gonna survive? And Andy's like, yeah, I've done this before. And then they jump, and then they have a little funny quips back and forth because they're falling for so long, and then they fucking splatter, slowly put their shit back together because they're immortal, and get out of there. And Andy tells Niall that she had never jumped from a skyscraper, but they're glad that she's alive. So that was kind of like a funny humor added inside all this intense action. So then we get Joe and Andy, who are a couple. They have been captured and they're a part of the team. So now Andy, Niall, and Booker are going to go rescue them from this billionaire who's trying to dissect them. Then we just get a blowout, a bunch of cool tricks of how smart they are tactically, facing hundreds of bad guys who are trying to, work for this billionaire. And in the end, all my reviews have spoilers. In the end, though, we get some really cool justification. This is the doctor that was performing a bunch of weird tests on them, and then they trick him into letting him go, and they just snap his fucking neck. And it was so satisfying when you got to see that. The next look at that panel though, side panel, super cool. The next really cool part is this part. That's classic. The bad guys in this part, the bad guys think they're coming through one door. They go out the window, shoot through the window, ambush them, kill them all. But that's not what I was looking for. What I was looking for is this part. This is the billionaire. They kill everybody. He's stuck in the bathroom hiding. He goes, "Fuck, listen, we can work something out." This is the only thing he says. You don't get any reasons, not a bunch of exposition. They just answer, "No, we can't." And then just ice that fucker. It's so good. Next page to Malta. Now they're decompressing in Malta, and they let Booker know that you betrayed us. There is going to be punishment, even though you came and helped us again. You have to own what you did. And so Andy actually says, I will see you at this spot in 100 years, and until then, you're on your own. So he's going to have 100 years alone without his team. So it kind of sucks that we won't have Booker. He's a kind of a cool French guy, but maybe we'll get a new person in the next arc, because as you can see, the old guard will return. I gotta say, guys, this is an amazing 5-issue run. You know Image is going to come out with that trade for $9.99. You got to pick this up. It's going to read so good when you read not issues but in a trade. So, but I have to say, overall, this book seriously impressed me. Like I said, pick up that trade. 6 out of 6 beers. So happy I picked this up. Next up, we got Nightwing from DC Comics. This is one of their own, a few comics that are still $2.99, so I did want to support it, so I'm jumping on board this. Mainly, I heard Garrett from Wednesday Comics really rave about it, and he mentioned Tim Seeley's writing it. I'm a fan of Tim Seeley, and I love Nightwing, especially in Bloodhaven, and so we get this very perfect comic book superhero story, and I absolutely love it. It starts out with a flashback, which I didn't know was a flashback at first, so I was actually worried that it was like Batman and Robin and Blockbuster. I don't know what this is about, but it turns out, it's a flashback. Nightwing in the previous issue was fighting with Blockbuster. So Blockbuster is now not as crazy. He can control himself. He's talking to Dick and letting him know that people are bringing in guns into Bloodhaven, and he's trying to make him say, like, this is my community. I don't want this to happen. He's turned. He's good now. But Dick doesn't really believe him, but takes the information anyway and moves about his day because a call comes in where there's something going down at the mall. And we get this little puppet lady who Nightwing has to take out real quick, and it's kind of fun. And we get some just classics, perfect way to add some action to the scene. She gets, taken down with a forklift. Nightwing's driving a forklift. So sweet. But as a new reader, I get introduced to a lot of people. I don't know who this was, but this is one of my favorite parts of just the correspondence between Nightwing and this police officer as he's trying to help and become on her side, and she's really being very resilient on trying to say that she wants any help from him because he's a vigilante and, holds it against him. And Gotham Central's like some of my favorite comic book that takes place in DC Universe, so I always like the cop interaction. Then we meet Sean, who used to be the Pigeon, and that's Nightwing's current girlfriend. And she wants him to get a regular job. It sounds like, which that's so dumb. But anyway, they talk about like some problems they're having, and it gets super fucked up right here because Nightwing literally tells her that they had a pregnancy scare, and he says that he was scared that they were going to have a baby because he really wants to raise a baby like him who's going to do well, but he's afraid if that's the mother, or if Sean's the mother, that she is going, because she used to be evil, the baby's going to be evil. And he tells her that, and it's like, dude, of course you're going to fucking make her super sad. So she's just like crying, and he has to leave. And the reason he has to leave is he's going to follow up on that lead from Blockbuster. So he's going to get those guns that were being sold in or whatever, the lead for the gun drop off. He's checking it out, and little does he know that boom, Skyhook, who I don't even know, nabs him and drops him into this party for bad guys. And then we have this whole thing is Nightwing was set up by Blockbuster and Tiger Shark, and that's where we leave off. And it's a great cliffhanger, like, oh, how's Nightwing gonna get out of this now? Great place to start. I don't know anything. I didn't know any of the story, not one inkling of story, but I absolutely love this issue, and I'm excited for the next one. And $2.99, guys, can't go wrong. So I give this 5 out of 6 beers. Super good. Last but not least, or maybe least, is The Chair #1. I picked this up for $1 because it was $1. I'll try it out. And I was like, oh, a new series for $1. Then I want to try it out. The Chair. It's this story about a person in a jail that's on death row, and it's a fucked up jail where all of the security guards all the guards are like perverts, and people like don't piss in people's food and are just like not letting even inmates go to the bathroom, so they have shit all over their cells. And it reads really, the writing is pretty good and pretty solid. But this is $1, don't get me wrong. But this art, it's just, you can't get through it. It is so it's just amateur, and I get it. This guy's probably beyond this, because another thing I learned is this isn't brand new. It's fucking reprinted from 2006. And the reason it's reprinted, is I found out at the end, is they have this like straight to DVD movie coming that has an Roddy Piper in it. So I guess that's why this was put out. So we get this story of this guy who's innocent and he's on death row, and then all this, it gives us like the backstory, who he is and how he got there, and this is where he's at now. And then at the end, the warden like takes him and is gonna do some fucked up shit to him. Well, the story actually flows okay and it's just fine, but because this art is so hard to follow, sometimes you don't even know what's going on. You have to really look back. I get that they were trying to go for dark, scary, moody, but it just doesn't work. I was definitely disappointed with this book. 1 out of 6 beers. I do not suggest you pick it up. All right, guys. That's my reviews, a comic book look. Keep It Comics 605.